November 26, 2024 meeting of the High Point Regional Board of Ed to order. Please stand for this flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act statement. New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Augusta, Branchville, and Sussex post offices, and notice sent to the New Jersey Herald, the Sunday Herald, and the clerk of the boroughs of Branchville and Sussex, and the townships of Frankfort, Lafayette, and Wantage. Mission statement. High Point Regional High School, in partnership with staff, family, and community, is dedicated to the quest for individual excellence. By fostering high standards of achievement, we prepare students to become responsible and productive members of a diverse society. Ask for a roll call, please.
Mr. Conforth?
Here.
Mrs. Diaz?
Here.
Mr. Dunn?
Here.
Ms. Orsi?
Here.
Ms. Palasek?
Here.
Ms. Schuman is not here. Mr. Dunn is not here. Mr. Van Stone?
Here.
Ms. Wise?
Here.
Dr. Ripley?
Okay. A motion will now be made that the High Point Regional High School Board of Education enter executive session to provide an update on legal, personnel, and negotiation items which are exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Any discussions held by the board, which need not remain confidential, will be made public when appropriate. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session in person and virtually at the conclusion of the executive session. It is not anticipated that any action will be taken. So may I have a motion? Motion. A second?
Second.
All accept those? Motion. And a second? Any comments, corrections? Roll call, please.
Mr. Conforth?
Yes.
Mrs. Diaz?
Abstain?
Mrs. Jonah?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Horsey?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Carries, right. That brings us to our first public comment section of the evening. Although it is stated as for agenda items only, we are not going to limit that to agenda items only. In the interest that it looks like there may be some people who want to make some comments, and we apologize if we, in fact, you've sat here for an hour. So, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, we'll open the public comments. At this time, each speaker should state his or her name and address. You will have 3 minutes to address the board, which will be timed by myself. We will limit this section to no longer than 45 minutes. Please be respectful and mindful that your comments are being recorded. And we have 2 methods to address the board. One is here in person, at the podium, or virtually to our email address that is posted on our virtual site. So, public comments, please step to the... Right here. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Addison Danoff, and I'm in 3rd at Franker School. I'm here today to help you guys to start a girls' flag football team at High Point next year. I was lucky to be part of the first girls' flag football team for the High Point Junior Wildcats this year. We went 8-1 with an undefeated regular season. And within the season, we only had a few fans who brought it in our crowd grew. Kids, parents, and community members loved watching us play. The girls love playing, and we've heard many other girls want to play as well next year. Girls' flag football is one of the fastest growing sports, and it's even an Olympic sport. There are over 200 high schools in Virginia that have a flag football team. Some teams to name are a few like Jefferson, Wayne, Mount Olive, Sparta, Montville, and West Milford. If we joined the Super Football Conference and played with the Patriot Group, we would play Jefferson, Wayne, Montville, Wayne Hills, and West Milford. The regular season is 6 weeks long, with only a 6-week regular season. We only need transportation for 3 or 4 away games. Wouldn't it be great to add High Point to that list? We wouldn't need much, 7 girls in uniform, flags, and a few football for the spring. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope to see you on the football field next year.
Thank you.
Mike Yanoff, the father of Addison, I reached out to a couple of people already and sent some letters in. We just wanted to bring it to your attention that, hopefully it could be discussed to add a girls' flag football team. As you mentioned, it's a growing sport. It'd be great to continue what the feeder program started, and with the feeder program, it started off with just 1 team, and already the registrations nearly tripled for girls looking to play the following season. So thank you for your time. Letters will be coming in. Like we said, just want to bring it to your attention. Everyone will be aware of it, and hopefully we can accommodate to try to do something for the spring of next year. Thank you.
Can I ask you a couple?
Yes.
So this is an unaffiliated with school program? Is it
Correct. It's part of the High Point Midget Football Program.
Oh, okay.
So it brought girls in from
And
all the
generally,
High Point regional areas.
What geographic area are you pulling your players
So we pulled girls from Lafayette, Montague, Branchville, Frankfurt, Sussex. We ended up having a team of 14 to 15 girls started off, and it was 2 to 3 girls from each town that were on the team.
And what's a minimum viable team
For a team,
size?
so I believe with the high school rules, or at least it was with us, you need at least 10 girls to field a team. You play 7 on 7, you only need 10. Ideally, having 13 to 14 girls would be perfect to have a team, so this when we have practices, you can do your full 7 on 7, or you can do drills on 6 on 6. But ideally, you would only need 10 girls to field a team, but 13 to 14 would be ideal.
And it's a spring sport?
From what I'm being told for high school, even though it was a fall sport with the feeder program, from what I'm being told, it's considered a spring sport for the high school. It starts at the beginning of April, and I think it goes to the end of May. There's only the current 2024 schedule. There's 6 regular season games, and then there's 3 games after that, depending on how it goes playoff-wise.
And is there an opportunity then for those players that play for the school in the spring to play in the fall with their club after they reach high school age, or?
Yeah, right now there's no fall team. The fall team is only for the elementary level. middle school.
Oh, okay.
But for the high school level, it's considered a spring sport.
So there is no fee.
Yeah.
No rec program.
What was your grades that you had the kids in it?
So they offer, our team was 6th, 7th, and 8th. They had grades that were 3, 4, and 5, and 6, 7, and 8. Being part of the league, the girls' flag portion of it, and talking to other reps with the girls' flag, already they're anticipating next year for 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th, and 3rd and 4th at all the other schools we played. We ended up, this past year, we played 2 different Hackettstown teams, 2 different Mount Olive, 2 different Jefferson, Lenape, and Sparta.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure that my daughter's going to say, why didn't you do this before? And I would say that I feel badly because it didn't know.
Right.
But you brought it to our attention, and with the degree of participation that you're mentioning, look, we want our kids to come here and have a fabulous experience.
Yep.
And if that would enhance their experience, it's certainly something we want to look into.
We would
So
appreciate that.
I personally very much appreciate you coming and speaking and letting us know. And someday, if we do proceed with this, you will know that it was because of you that High Point has flag football. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's something
Thank you.
about which you can be very proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is David Decker. I'm from Frankfurt Township. Originally from Lafayette Township. My daughter is just turned 11. She is a player on the team. I'm so grateful for the Wildcats to bring this to light to these young girls. They have something to look forward to. Right now she's in the gym wrestling. She wrestles with little boys. She wants to play football, but when flag came out, she said, I want to do flag. And the positive attitude that these girls have when they're on that field and the love for one another and their coaches, it's just tremendous. One thing that, when the team goes together, they, say 1, 2, 3, Wildcats. Our girls, when I said our girls, my daughter's part of that team, they didn't say that, they said family. Every game in that first huddle, 1, 2, 3, family. And that's what it's about. So if High Point was able to bring a team here, it's not a team, it's a family. It's another sport to bring kids to do something else, and it's important for these kids. As we all know, electronics are the worst nightmare. If we get these kids out, and these girls out on the field, play some football, they're not gonna get hurt badly, bumps and bruises. Unfortunately, we had one person get a broken wrist this year. The parents don't have to worry about too much about getting hurt, but I think it's a really good program. I'm so glad she's part of it, my daughter was part of it. And they have a banner now. They have a banner with all their names on it. And to go out first year, 8-0 on a regular season, go into the playoffs, #1 seed, not only did they accomplish that, they shut out Jefferson Township. They won the championship last year, shut them out. They shut out Mount Olive. They came in 2nd last year. So I'm so proud of all the girls and their accomplishments. So please consider bringing this to high school. My daughter's in 6th grade. She'll be coming here in 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, and she's already looking forward for it. And I know these other girls are too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Anything? May I have a motion to close public comments?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
We'll see you next year for flag football.
We'll try.
First presentation, Mr. Kyle Lansky, Speaker of the House.
Good evening. So obviously I'm here to talk about City Council and what we've done for the past month of November. I'll start off with the character initiative that I mentioned last month. So this month it was self-esteem, that was our character initiative theme. And we held, we presented a Google slide to the student population via Google Meet, which was shown to everybody in the morning. It provided the importance and encouragement regarding self-esteem in student bodies' lives. Recently, the student council created posters with inspirational and motivational quotes, which were placed around the school in prominent locations, so other students within the building can read them and feel a little bit better about themselves regarding that self-esteem aspect. On Wednesday, 11/20, we held the Nice Notes activity in the front lobby. It was just a table where you could come and you could write a note to a friend, a family member, a teacher, whatever one you wanted it to be. You could write a note of appreciation. You could write a note of encouragement. You could write a note of love. You could write a note of affection. It was just a nice note that you could write to someone in the school or in your life, which I thought was pretty cool. On top of that, we're also working with Project Self-Sufficiency. During the winter months, we're doing the Self-the Stocking Contest, which you may have seen in the front lobby. We have Santa's chimney, and we created a Amazon wish list, which has been shared to people via social media and email. Anything that is purchased from that list can be brought in and placed in that box to be donated to Project Self-Sufficiency. Other than that, we have plans for December, which I'm really excited for because obviously we have the holiday season coming up. So we're going to have the annual holiday decorating with these holidays right here, which I always love. It's really fun to do. And we also have the Spirit Week. People we're probably going to have things to wear or things to participate in during the Spirit Week. And then at the end of Spirit Week, we're going to have a camp rally, which is always pretty fun. Probably at the gym, and we're going to have a number of activities for the students to participate in and, get that school spirit going, especially with the winter sports going, like wrestling. So that's all I've got for this month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. John Pellman. Principal's report.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing today?
Good yourself?
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vance, for the action report. Thank you, student council, for all the great things they do. They mentioned this a couple things each month, but it's really important for them to do those little things because they're part of our school community. And they do matter and do go a long way, so we're very appreciative of that. So a couple things I wanted to talk about this evening very, very briefly. One is we had our students at the first marking period. For those of you that don't know, each marking period we have staff that come together for each department and then nominate a student from that department. Doesn't matter the grade level, it can be anywhere from 9 to 12 to represent that department as students in the marking period. So we do that 4 times a year. To me, it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite times down with students because we do a little lunch and roadkill together with all the students, and we usually invite some other people in, some other staff and administrators in, and we just sit and chat. Talk about what's going on in their lives, talk about the classes, talk about why they got the award, why they were nominated, talk about Thanksgiving because it was last week before Thanksgiving, and just get some feedback from them. Some of the courses that we've actually created and over the course of time in our curriculum guide has come from those discussions from students that are exiting saying, if I were to take this course, this is what I wanted to take. And so that's been some really good conversation. So this is on social media. The students recognize. I want to make sure you heard as well. We choose one principal student of the marking period. In this marking period was Levi Slinsky. For business, it was Jaden Guzman. For English, it was Aiden Coyle. For PE, it was Abigail Amick. For health, it was Evan Fisher. For social studies, it was Thomas Guther. For mathematics, it was Connor Vance. For performing arts, it was Isabella Garasusa. Science was Deborah Todd. Technology studies was Kelly Whitemore. Visual arts was Eliana Zavopoulos, and world language was Leon. So again, a mixture of a couple ninth graders, which is a very, 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 very prominent award to get the first marking period of your entire high school career to be nominated as ninth graders is pretty significant. So that was a good time. So switching gears, we talk a lot about student health and wellness. overall as our goal. It's a very broad discussion. I think, and we talk about this often with Dr. Ripley and the administrative staff, that is our number one priority, no matter what. And that encompasses a lot of things. It's a big task. So that's mental health, that's their physical health, that's their access to food, that's food insecurity we talk about, and it's also things like vaping awareness and vaping prevention. So I know the board has dedicated a lot of time and efforts and finances in that area, and I just wanted to kind of give an update of where that's at. Vaping is a national epidemic. We don't hide from it. We speak to our students often about it every opportunity that we get. We have students in our building that are addicted to vaping and will report to us that they need to do it 50 to 100 times a day because that's their addiction level. That's real, right? That's a real struggle if they're a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old or other that's telling us that. The important part is the resources that we have. It's a layered approach that we always try to prevent things with. It can't just be one thing, it has to be a layered approach. So it starts with prevention and awareness, and that starts in small group counseling, that starts in large group counseling, that starts in health and PE classes. Those are all really directed attempts at the prevention and awareness. And that doesn't stop, that continues on. But there has to be more because it's an epidemic and it's not just going to stop with prevention and awareness. We often use what we call the SMART passes, which we put in place last year. That's been very helpful to eliminate the time period the students are out of the classroom and they're back in class for what they're supposed to do, which is education. Right? In terms of the aspect of so that's really important. The third aspect that we added this year, just recently in the last month, was our vape detectors. Now, I was the first one, and Dr. Wood and I have had this conversation very transparently, to say that I never want to spend money as a principal on vape detectors. There's so many other things that I think we could be doing and spending money on. But that's where we are, right? And we have to meet the needs of the students, and that's one of the areas that we have to absolutely target. So with that aspect of it, to give you some ideas of numbers, we also have had reach out programs for parent universities, working with their parents, talking about vaping awareness. Mrs. Cardinal, Mrs. Pagan, the next job with presentations to our parents for our parent university. We do that individual counseling, we do that group counseling. Vape detectors are part of that layered approach to that aspect of it. So the hard thing about vaping is really this, and this is I was in a class the other day, a street law class the other day, and sometimes I get in class and I get on the pedestal to sit back in social studies land, and they ask me about vaping. They just watched a documentary called The Big Vape. If you haven't seen it, it was on Netflix. It's really informative. It's pretty eye-opening. It's about a company called Juul. What they have rebranded themselves out of the cigarette era, which branded as now the new vape, which is Juul, and all that they've been involved with. But I tell them, vaping is something that's accessible and acceptable in society. Cigarette smoking is not. Think about when the last time that you went to a restaurant, right, or a bar, or maybe a bowling alley, right, and you used to walk through the haze of the smoke. That wasn't that long ago. Right, when you see somebody smoking now, it's a very different situation. I gave the analogy this, I saw this the other day at our local park in Frankfurt. I was at a soccer game, little kid soccer game, and there was 4 adults on the sidelines vaping. I don't know what they're vaping, they could be vaping nicotine, they could be vaping other things, because that's all the part I was talking about as well. There was one guy that literally was behind the porta john smoking a cigarette, because it's not acceptable. Right? People are shy away from seeing that, but yet people are vaping up and down the sidelines when there's 5 or 6 year olds playing soccer. That's what our use college and now just what our teenagers are facing. That acceptability and that accessibility, that's in every street corner, right? And it's socially acceptable, right? It's socially marketed in a lot of capacities as well. So they're up against a different time period than even we would look at as chewing tobacco and cigarettes, like many of us were up against as we went through that aspect of it. So catching people that are vaping, the ultimate story, catching people that are vaping is difficult, right? It's elusive. There's vapeware out there. One of the things about our parent university that is made by these companies, it's marketed to, who do you think? Teenagers, right? So you can hide them in sweatshirts, you can hide them in the USB aspect of it, you can hide them back your cell phone, books, they go in calculators, they go in highlighters, they're all meant to hide and keep these things from being caught. So vaping themselves by itself is very difficult to catch somebody actually vaping unless you physically see it, right? The vape itself, or the vapor emitting from that stuff. It's very difficult. So in the first almost month and a half, although all those efforts that were in place, right, we had about 4 instances of actually catching students vaping, either physically seeing them with the vape in their hand, or the vape coming out. it's difficult, it's taxing. Since the beta detectors have gone in place, which I'll talk a little bit about the human resources, we've been able to identify in a short period of time, a month, 10 individuals that were caught in the act directly because of the beta detectors. So there is an essence of that layered approach does work. I want to commend particularly Mrs. Sarno, our assistant principal, Mr. Emma, assistant principal, and our security force, Mr. Rice, who's standing behind me, because they will be the first to tell you, and we're all in on this. It's in all everybody's rowing, we're all rowing in the same direction, we're all in. It's a big job, right? And when the big detectors first went in to give you context and idea, we were receiving about 40 notifications a day. Some days we had more than that, but an average of 40 notifications of big detectors going on today. So, although you get a lot of reports until you see that data, right? You don't know where does it actually lie. And I'm happy to say, for a lot of reasons, again, thanks to our security staff, to Mrs. Sarno, Mr. Emmer for leading the charge now, because it's been a long battle for a month and we're not done. We're down to 12 about a day in the last 2 weeks. So you can see a reduction significantly from that. What does that mean? It means a couple things. There wasn't more than last night. I didn't call a term truck. I said to the students, it's based on levels, is what the detectives are set on, because it's smarter, right? It was an all-out blitz for a couple weeks there, and that's what we saw some notifications that's going to go down. And the schools that we speak to that have these detectives in place say that over the course of time we have to continue to lower the levels because there's ways around keeping that level from reaching the detective, which looks much like these that do on, there's not one here, but it looks very similar to that aspect that it does here, okay? So sometimes that can be masked in certain ways, so we'll continue to lower that. We'll continue our layered approach, and we'll continue growing. And that's hard. And like I said, those individual resources that they're taking on a daily basis with searches and going through things and talking to students and trying to get through information is taxing, but it's for the right reasons. We're finding with THC, we're finding straight nicotine. It is a slippery slope of accessibility, right, and acceptability that our students are up against, and it's downright scary, to be honest with you. You really, obviously thought about cigarettes, it was tobacco, and tobacco was quite bad for you, and eventually, obviously, it came out that it was really bad for you, right? But you weren't thinking about tobacco being laced with THC and the tobacco being laced with what's next. And that's what we're up against when we look at that part. So, just want to give you an update on that. So, about a month in, big detectors are not a standalone item. They cannot be, right? If you don't have human resources responding to them, if you don't have the layered approach with the smart passes and the prevention and awareness and the parent communication and the collaboration, they won't work. And that's the bottom line. It's just one tool and a myriad of tools that we're trying to utilize. And we hope that over the course of time, we're able to continue to lower that mark. Out of that discussion, right, of many students with many different situations, we're having kids that are asking for help, right, that are recognizing, as before, that they need help and they're asking for help. So if that happens one time, right, then you know that that's success. I just wanted to report that to the board. More than happy to answer any questions about that. But that's just an update of that continued focus as not just a district goal. We talk about administratively for years. That is our number one priority as educators. Because we can't educate them academically, right, if we can't focus on their well-being overall. Any questions on that before I just finish up a couple of other things?
Personally, I'd like to thank you and Dr. Ripley and everybody else that's involved in the program. I'd like to think that High Point is something of a trendsetter, bucking some of the lack of support that is out there to implement a program like this. So we're hoping that we get to demonstrate to other districts our success at some point in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. So I think the big answer to that, right, is we're going to keep on rowing. I don't believe, and Dr. Glenn talked about this, often there's not the recognition globally, that it needs to be. And it's a very scary situation that our kids are up against, and that we're up against as educational institutions. So hopefully there is some light in the tunnel with some of those things. There is a little bit of legislation out there with selling. If you know in this area, I don't know if you can count, there's 5 vape stores or gas stations within 3 miles of High Point High School. And they obviously market to the blank, even though they're not supposed to, but there is some legislation that takes time that will eliminate some of that, which will help, I think, a little bit, but that takes a lot of time. So it really has been the perfect storm of a lot of things that have happened over the course of a couple of years with vaping, with THC, marijuana in the state, and the decriminalization of that aspect of it, that's also impacted schools, and also what law enforcement can do in terms of their resources as well. So that's one area of health and wellness. Another area we talked about this, and I think it was August when we were in the board office, is cell phones. Right, cell phones and student well-being is really important, and that's the center focus of one of our goals as well. So we do have we launched a cell phone task force, very fancy name, which encompasses some students, 2 students from each grade level, some administrators, myself, Mrs. Sarno, and Mr. Emma, a parent from each grade level, representative as well as staff members who volunteered to be part of that. So we had a great meeting about 2 weeks ago now, and had some really good feedback. The goal is to focus on what we're doing now, get feedback on all areas, stakeholders of that, and then look at research that's out there, best practices from other schools, practices of policies that are out there, and also the research about mental health and social media that's out there as well, and try to make some educated recommendations out of that. There's no time frame, as I told everybody, as we go into this. It's not like, okay, in 8 months we're going to be wrapped up and it's good to go. Kind of just want to ebb and flow as we go through it, based on feedback I get. So that was a good meeting to start. I'm going to be updating that. The fall drama, if you didn't see it, Noise is Off, absolutely one of the best programs, theater, musical, drama, whatever genre you call it that I've ever seen here at High Point. And I've seen a lot of them. It was absolutely hysterical to do a run like that for drama, and the energy that students had to have was just phenomenal. So kudos to Mr. Gicardi. You know, she is fantastic. Our students that were part of that, we had ninth graders on stage, we had seniors on stage together. Really excited about that, and this was a fantastic show. Cost a little before, but we have tremendous staff here at High Point. I just wanted to share with you that throughout the time of Thanksgiving, there's a lot of things to be grateful for. There's many of our students and some of our staff that have difficult challenges. And we recognize that some of our students go home and they don't have the same holidays that we may all get a chance to have. So when we reach out to the staff and we need to fill the food pantry up in a day, we did Jean's Day about a week and a half ago, and the entire, our entire food pantry, local food pantry, entirely full, wall to wall, in one day from our staff. That is pouring no matter what time it is, no matter what their own bills are that are happening, whatever's happening. They poured in the food and it filled the pantry up in one day, and that was just great because we're already sending food out the door for families in need. So just wanted to share that, and I know Mr. Yardley and Mr. Percy, Ms. Bang are coordinating that and doing a great job. This has been really fantastic. We also have Ms. Sullivan coordinates a Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving basket that we were able to give to families over the course of time. That has then morphed into a hybrid over the course of time this year. Ms. Sullivan worked closely with Pastor Long. Pastor Long is a county organization that many of you are probably familiar with. They do a lot of great outreach and community service, and they were looking for donations for their established families in need. And in a short period of time, it was a very short window that they gave us to be able to be part of that. Our staff donated over $700 at the same time that we're doing the food pantry to pass it along to go towards needy families in our local neighborhood. So these are just things that happen behind the scenes, and they don't do it for notoriety, they don't do it for anything else besides it's the right thing to do. So just wanted to pass on that. We have toy drives going on, and Schaefer Student Council are working on that. It's just endless, the things that do happen behind the scenes, and some of them have doing it. Schaefer's been doing some of these programs, the toy drive, product self-sufficiency, the Christmas wish list for some of our families that don't get Christmas presents for 10 or 12 years. And not, again, because for any reason besides it's the right thing to do and they want to help people. So I want to make sure the board heard that. We have some fantastic staff members all throughout doing great things. Athletically, not much to report except that we had an awesome fall season, and we are literally just transitioning to the winter season as that started last night. Yesterday was our first winter kickoff for all of our winter sports, and we're looking forward to a great year for winter season as well. Okay? Any questions on that? Wishing everybody a blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. James Cameron.
Good evening. One very brief thing to present on, that's it. All school districts in New Jersey must assess their anti-bullying procedures. It's an annual mandate, and tonight we present our assessment. We ask the board to approve it, after which we submit it to the DOE and they certify it. It's the 23-24, so it's a look back at last year's programs. The rubric is rather elaborate, so I'll spare you a detailed analysis of that, and I'll give you, I believe, a simplification of that. It's comprehensive. It looks at everything that you do regarding your anti-bullying efforts, staff training, curriculum, procedures, both reporting and investigating, etc. There's no aspect of anything we do to prevent bullying, harassment, intimidation that's not part of the self-assessment. So there's 8 core elements on the rubric, and then there's 26 specific areas in which we score ourselves. And the score on each is 0 to 3. So a perfect score, if the district were to award themselves, that would be 78. We awarded ourselves 74 out of 78. From that, we basically identified 4 areas that we're going to focus on to improve this current year. First is to get more input, to use the survey and to invite parents and staff and students to tell us their thoughts, their questions, their confusion, their suggestions, etc. on the anti-bullying measures. Next is our school safety team. Will meet more frequently. This is a team that has our anti-bullying specialist, Jan Wright, heads it up. He was here last month and presented. A guidance counselor, a student, a parent, teachers, and we meet and we look at the various things we're doing to prevent bullying. We also think it's important that we look at a broader data set so we can see things like attendance and grades and other discipline factors and see if there's a link that can help us with our anti-bullying efforts. And last, we're going to make a handful of informational videos, one specifically for students and one for the website, to kind of invite parents, put a face to all that message on the website and say, reach out if you have questions, but also in somewhat layman terms to explain the HIP process on our website. Our website has all of our HIP information. Every school has this, so if you want to know our school, any school, it's mandated that you have a website page dedicated to this. And when we approve the self-assessment this evening, we submit it to the Department of Education. They certify it. When we get it back, it will go on our website, and we have at present the past 6 years posted. We'll have a 7th year posted. It's transparent, and if any member of the community looks at that or has any questions, we welcome them to reach out. So I want to thank Mr. Jim Rice. He works with Mr. Wright, but we put a lot of time and energy into this. I know the board hears about it quite frequently, but between Mr. Talamain, the main office administration, myself, Dr. Ripley, Mr. Rice, it's a big deal. We care about it, put a lot of effort into it, and this assessment is an appropriate opportunity to look at ourselves, reflect on where we can improve, and try and make those improvements. So that's our self-assessment. Questions on that? Great, thank you.
Okay, let's move on. No other business, so let's go through action items, curriculum, instruction, and technology.
Yep.
That,
Sure. I just want to take note of items 1, 2, and 3 about our faculty attendance, student attendance, and suspension report. And then I'd like to move items 4 through 9. Number 4 is the recommendation to approve the harassment, intimidation, and bullying reports for October 30th through November 26th. Number 5 is the recommendation to approve the field trips on the attached item. Number 6 is to approve the professional development activities. Number 7 is to accept the grant award from the New Jersey Pathways to Career Opportunities in the amount of $7,500 to be used to upgrade our machine tool technology. Number 8 is to approve our HIP self-assessment for the 23-24 school year, which will be submitted to the NJBOE. Number 9 is recommendation to approve a revised 24-25 school calendar to reflect the half-day schedule for students on January 21st through the 24th for midterms. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh,
Just
sorry.
thank you to New Jersey Pathways for their generous donation. I'm sure that's over earmarked for a good purpose.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, roll call?
All right, Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Palacek?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Concord?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Oh, personnel's up next.
Yep, so I'll continue. I want to move items 1 through 6. The first one is a recommendation to approve following individuals as substitutes for the 24-25 school year, pending receipt of the required paperwork as listed. Number 2 is a recommendation to approve revised job description for bus driver. Number 3 is a recommendation to accept the resignation from James Bisco, security guard, effective immediately. Number 4 is recommendation to approve retroactively the amount of $71,241.30 of guidance salary for employee 691 to be charged to ESSER funds received for the 23-24 school year. Number 5 is to accept the resignation notification from Andrew Smetana, security guard, effective immediately. And number 6 is recommendation to accept the retirement notification from employee 298, effective November 30th, 2024. Making a motion, seeking a second.
I second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Okay, Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Concord?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Palacek?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. I'll move the 2 items under extracurricular together. First one is a recommendation to approve the hosting of a Christmas basketball tournament in conjunction with Walker Valley, December 26th, 27th, and 30th. Teams participating will be from High Point Kids, Mount Olive, Vernon, Pope John, and Warwick. And item 2 is a recommendation to approve the rescinding of the appointment of Bailey Vose as head girls lacrosse coach effective immediately. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on any of those? All right. All right. Roll call, please.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Palacek?
Yes.
Mr. Concord?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. We have no action items under policy negotiations for buildings and grounds. I just want to note under buildings and grounds that our HVAC work is nearing completion on 2 major projects that were conducted mostly over the summer that unfortunately ran into the current school year. I'm sure we'll all be glad when that's finally turned on and operational. So again, 2 major projects effectively operational now. And I did also want to thank the building and ground staff for the beautiful steps that we now have out at the soccer field that mimic the steps that were installed by the football field this year. And glad that they were put in before the weather turns. So
Certainly was more comfortable.
they finished it right before the rain. So under finance, I'd like to move 1 through 10 together. 1 is a recommendation to accept the report of the board secretary, business administrator for October 2024. 2 is a recommendation to accept the report of the treasurer for the same month, October 2024. And 3 is a recommendation to approve the report of transfers and minimum expense transfer report for October 2024. And 4 is a recommendation to approve for payment the attached schedule of the bills dated November 26, 2024. Item 5 is a recommendation to accept the adult education agency account, athletic account, cafeteria account, construction account, principal's petty cash account, scholarship account, school store, and student activities reconciliations for October 2024. Item 6 is a recommendation to approve the increasing the substitute nurse pay to $250 per day, effective November 27, 2024. Item 7 is a recommendation to approve Wantage Excavating Company to approve work related to winter maintenance snow removal for the 2024-2025 school year as listed. Item 8 is recommendation to approve the transfer in the amount of $40,000 from maintenance reserve to capital outlay for the purchase of an incline wheelchair lift plus architectural fees. Item 9 is a recommendation to authorize the execution of following tuition contracts between High Point, the sending district, and the following districts, and related information as listed. And then one item on the addendum, number 10, is a recommendation to approve and authorize the execution of following tuition contracts between High Point as a sending district and the following districts as related information. I guess they could combine, but, so I make that motion 1 through 10.
Second.
Any discussion, comments on those items? Roll call, please.
Ms. Falsa?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Concord?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. And that brings us to transportation. Would you like to share on those few items?
Put 1 through 4 together. Number 1 is the execution of the following contract addendum for additional mileage. Number 2 is the addendum for contract for reduction in mileage. 3 is the execution of the following code of contract for activities for 24-25 school year. And number 4 is for the school counseling trips for 24-25 school year. Seeking a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
All right, Mr. Concord?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Falsa?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Okay, we have no correspondence that I'm aware of. Standing item under miscellaneous, school board mandated training. Public comments, we didn't limit the first one to agenda items, so I'm not sure we need, I'm gonna open it anyway. Second public comment section in the evening. If anyone would like to make any public comments, we don't have any in the room, none virtually, so I'm gonna ask for a motion to close public comments.
So moved.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Non-committee board member reports or comments. I just have one announcement that there is a December 2nd meeting of the Sussex County School Boards Association. And aptly enough, one of the presentations is going to be on vaping. It didn't ask us to be expert witnesses there, so I'm not sure why. But if anyone is interested in attending that. Also for any incoming board members, there is a program prior to the meeting. Okay, so you've already received notice, Ms. Lundberg? Excellent. So it is, they call it the 3 Rs, which is meant to give incoming board members a little flavor of what to expect. And that happens, I believe, at 5:30, and then the program, the regular meeting commences around 6:30-ish. And I do know one of the other things is they recognize retiring board members, so any board members that are in the county that are not going to be serving after January. Get a little piece of paper if you want to attend, but otherwise I'll get it to you. Okay.
I would otherwise have attended on December 2nd, much to perhaps people's chagrin. But I will be, I'll be at a national conference representing High Point in Florida. So I will not be at the vaping county meeting.
That's all right. You're in the right place then.
The presentation will be very similar to what Mr. Campbell and I presented at school boards last month.
It was very well received.
Yeah, good thing.
That's all I had. No other comments. Nothing under other business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.